Mike, Keystone's obviously all of a sudden emerged these last two. I know he played well against Miami, but these last two games,
Yeah.
is there anything that you've seen, or has it just been during the games where he's kind of?
He's pretty consistent. He's a guy that sometimes you prod to get out of that comfort zone. His biggest strength is his pace, the pace of his game, which helps him so much, the tempo that he has offensively. As you've heard me say, he's kind of got that old man game. And I mean that obviously as a compliment. So sometimes you prod him on the glass and defensively a little bit. You urge him, you challenge him to get that motor going a little bit and have two different paces or tempos.
Because he looks like he's going to fall asleep.
He's, I think it helps his confidence level. He never ever gets rattled. He's just very, very comfortable out there. We're trying to get him even more out of his comfort zone defensively, and he's come a long way. This is level of communication, really moving his feet at a higher level. Kept J.J. Frazier in front of him a few times today off of switches. I guess circling back to your original question, outside of those things, he's extremely consistent. I don't put him in that category with Kamarius and Justin Leon because he's just as consistent as those guys, but those guys are consistently at a really high motor level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to get from Keith every single day. So nothing has changed with him in practice. Nothing really has changed with him in games other than, he's fallen into a couple shots that he's made, and then all of a sudden, you keep him in there a little bit longer, and he's able to show by earning more and more minutes what he's capable of doing. I will say from November, there's been a big difference with his defense. Over the past 6-7 weeks, though, he's defending at this level. Miami was probably that first game where we saw him really moving his feet and playing with a higher energy level there defensively. But he's a really talented offensive guy, as we know, emerging in those other areas.
It wasn't always pretty, but to show some resilience and to win in overtime, what does this win show you about your guys?
We've had 3 or 4 now where it's been ugly at times, and we've just found a way, a little bit of a different way. As we just talked about, it's a group that gets along well, that likes each other, that pulls for each other. That said, you're able to utilize your depth to its strength. We've got a little resiliency. We've got a pretty high level of confidence, I think. But obviously, if you play with fire a lot, you're going to get burned. And there's a lot of things that we can learn from this game.
Why the slow start, you think, today?
I don't know, Kevin. I will tell you, we had our worst practice yesterday in about a month. I was really concerned going into this one, and I don't know why. I don't get it. So it didn't surprise me at all. It was our energy level, I don't think matched their energy level in the first 5 minutes. I thought they were more physical throughout the entire game. We for whatever reason, we accepted blockouts. We couldn't, at halftime we missed a bunch of shots and just had a couple offensive rebounds. I thought Johnny Bruno really got his mojo going there on the glass. We got to get his win back up. I don't know. We've got to learn from it, Kevin. As you know, I'm going to shoot it straight. Yesterday we weren't very good. We talked about it last night in film. In fact, instead of watching Georgia last night, we actually watched clips from practice yesterday. So you would have thought we would have been a little bit more locked in. I'm not surprised by the way that they guarded us, but we've got to defend better than that, especially a team that executes like they do. They have 2 of the better players in our league. But we did just enough. We found a way.
Canyon kept you in it.
Yeah.
His 5 threes and those 2 4-point plays. But just kind of where he's at now versus earlier in the year.
He's playing with a different level of confidence. I really believe that. I think we all can see that. He's just shooting the ball better. He's shooting the ball better in practice. He's shooting it better to shoot around. And it's carrying over. I know he spent a lot of time in the gym. I know it's really important to him. You know, maybe the break. You know, if you're taking classes like he's taking, and you're out of class there for a couple of weeks, maybe it allows you just a little bit of time to get in the gym. I know he's taking classes there. My goodness. I know I would have signed up for it.
Mike, can you talk a little bit about the rebound that Barry got in the overtime? Because that seems to sort
Huge.
of epitomize the hustle that you guys showed
Yeah.
at that juncture.
Yeah. He's a guy that early on was a floor balance guy, where he was last year at Charleston. And he, I remember our first practice, we urged him to go to the offensive glass. We said, no, our 3-2-5, when you have the 3, we need you to. And he wasn't used to doing that. So that was getting out of his comfort zone a little bit. And really, in 4 or 5 different games, the first one was early on at a neutral site. It might have been that opening weekend in Jacksonville, where we were struggling to score. And right when he came in the game, he got a big offensive rebound putback. So he's become a better rebounder. He's a big, strong guy. He's a good athlete. And even defensively on the glass, when he's not coming up with rebounds, he's become one of our better blockout guys, using his strength, using his physicality.
Mike, this is a game that seemed to be played in spurts, but y'all seem to have really pick up the energy there and sort of play with a sense of desperation after about those last 5 minutes of regulation and then in regulation.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that you never want to play with fear. And you use the word desperation. Sometimes it's probably a positive to channel, to see that, wow, we only have a few minutes left here. We've got to find a way and figure this thing out. I wish we could do that for 40, and we're going to keep trying to do that. But I also think that another big factor, if we weren't at home, this one would have been very difficult to win. I thought our crowd was incredible, especially late in the game. It was extremely loud. It was a really fun college basketball environment.
Maybe fouling out, how big was that for you guys?
Huge.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you we would have got a few stops down the stretch within the game. Is he good? And any time we didn't do something to a T in terms of following the scouting report, whether we're switching this screen or catching this screen or going under this cross screen or calling this cross screen in the first place, any little mistake, they make you pay. And he's terrific, and they put him in positions to be successful. He's abnormally strong, and guys just bounce off the guy. It's amazing how strong he seems like he is out there.
How hard is this when an 80-point game without Kalen Allison points? It looked like an adult team every time he
Yeah, has 2 games in a row where we always say he's the focal point, but I think he's been the big focal point, an even bigger focal point here these last couple. And credit, two very good defensive programs, of course. Obviously, we're really fortunate that we have other weapons, and you have guys like Keystone and Canyon Berry step up like they did. Kayvon, he kept coming and he defended at a high level. Tried to take good ones. I don't think he forced the issue, as Mick and I just talked about. Some of these open looks that other guys are getting, whether they're in transition, whether it's one of our point guards coming off a ball screen, having a little bit of space, our bigs having a little bit more space to operate on the interior is because some defenses are so extended on Kayvon. So even when he only gets 6 or 8 shots, I think you still got to credit him with some of our offensive production. And then late in the game, I thought he made a huge play getting to the rim off a high ball screen. It was later clock, I don't know how late. And he went in there, and I think he had 2 or 3 of those prior where we didn't finish through physicality. So he kept coming and made a huge play for us.
Are Keith and Canyon perhaps playing their way in the starting roles, or do you like them where they are?
Yeah, I guess when you're winning, it's a factor for me that we're sitting here at 5-0. We'll continue to consider it, of course. Canyon, we've considered a starter all year. I mean, he played 35 minutes, and whether he starts or not, in the first 3-4 minutes of our next game, he's going to be in the game, and we're going to ride the players that produce more, that find themselves in the the best rhythm offensively and defensively. I'm open to changing things, of course. It's a little bit easier, I think, to change things when you lose. But we'll still chatter about it as a staff.